Hello and welcome to this A-Level Chemistry exam question walkthrough. The question is available through a link in the description, and this means that if you want to, you can download the question and have a go at it yourself before you watch this video. My recommendation is that you aim to give yourself a minute per mark. During this video, I'll be modelling my thinking out loud and annotating the question, mostly in red and blue, and then the answers that will get you the marks will be shown in purple. If you find parts of this question difficult, you could always check out my explanation video about this topic by using the master links document available in the description. This question is about some gas mixtures at equilibrium. This reaction can be used to make hydrogen, and we've been given a chemical equation with water reacting with carbon monoxide and producing hydrogen and carbon dioxide. We're shown that it's an equilibrium, we've got the reversible reaction symbol here, and the enthalpy change is minus 41 kilojoules per mole, showing that that is exothermic. A mixture of 2 moles of water and 2 moles of carbon monoxide is allowed to reach equilibrium at a constant temperature in a 20 dm cubed container. At equilibrium, there are 0.92 moles of hydrogen. Calculate the mole fraction of hydrogen in the equilibrium mixture. Well, we calculate the mole fraction of something, in this case hydrogen, by taking the equilibrium moles of that thing and dividing it by the total equilibrium moles of everything that is a gas present in the equilibrium mixture. So we've been told that the equilibrium moles of hydrogen is 0.92, but what is the total equilibrium moles of the mixture? The way that you would typically work this out is you would have the chemical equation, you would write down underneath it what initial moles we knew about, and anything that we hadn't been told anything about, we assume that there is 0 moles of this chemical at the start, and then we leave a space where off to the side we write change, and at the very bottom we write equilibrium moles. And we've been told about 1 equilibrium mole, and that's hydrogen, 0.92. And so we have to work out what one of these chemicals has changed by and deduce what the other chemicals will have changed by as a result. And before we dive into this, we need to note that in the equation, the mole ratios are 1 to 1 to 1 to 1, as in 1 mole of each chemical in the reactants and the products side. That affects how much things change by. And so we started with 0 moles of hydrogen and it went up to 0.92. So that's an increase of 0.92. Carbon dioxide that is on the same side as hydrogen will also go up by 0.92, and so we'll have 0.92 moles of carbon dioxide at equilibrium. The chemicals on the other side of the equation will go down by that same amount. Remember, this is because the coefficients are all 1s in the equation, so all of the changes will be equivalent. So water goes down by minus 0.92, and so does carbon monoxide. We started with 2 moles of each of them, so at equilibrium, we will have 1.08 moles of each of them. And so now we know the total equilibrium moles is just the sum of these 4 values, which gives us 4. And so that means the mole fraction is 0.92 divided by 4, which is 0.23. Part B says to state why the equilibrium constant Kp for this reaction has no units. Well, we calculate Kp by taking the partial pressures of the products and multiplying them together and dividing it by the partial pressures of the reactants multiplied together. And obviously the units of Kp come from what the pressures were and how many terms there were on the numerator and in the denominator. Now, on this occasion, and every occasion when Kp has no units, the reason that Kp has no units is that the total moles of reactants is the same as the total moles of products. And that means that in the Kp expression, those partial pressure term units are going to cancel each other out. And so this is one of the key features of a situation where the moles of reactants equals the moles of the product. The other is that the sum of all of the initial moles for all of the chemicals will be equal to the sum of all the the equilibrium moles for all of the chemicals. And so that means that on this occasion, we could have calculated the equilibrium moles by simply adding together the starting moles, because you see 2 and 2 obviously makes 4, and that would have saved us a lot of time here, but we don't always get the opportunity to do that, only when the moles of reactants is the same as the moles of product. The temperature of the equilibrium mixture formed in part A is increased. How does the amount of hydrogen gas change when the new position of equilibrium is reached? And we've got 3 options. But before we choose, we need to remind ourselves about Le Chatelier's principle, which is that equilibria will shift to oppose change. We have increased the temperature, so the equilibrium will shift to decrease the temperature. And that means that the equilibrium will shift in the endothermic direction, because that's the chemical reaction that results in a decrease in temperature. And so we were told that the forwards reaction has a negative enthalpy change, meaning that that was exothermic. So that means that the backwards reaction is endothermic. So the equilibrium will shift towards the reactants. It will shift left. And since hydrogen is a reactant on the right-hand side for the backwards reaction, the amount of hydrogen will decrease. Ethanol can be made from ethene and steam, and we've got a chemical equation here where we have ethene reacting with the steam on the left-hand side, then we've got the reversible reaction symbol, and there is ethanol on the right-hand side. Everything is in the gas state. And we've been given an enthalpy change of negative 45 kilojoules per mole. The table below shows the mole fractions of each of the gases in an equilibrium mixture at 6,000 kilopascals total pressure. So we've got the 3 gases, then we've got each of their mole fractions. Give an expression for Kp for this reaction, calculate the value of Kp at 6,000 kilopascals, and state the units. To give the expression for Kp, we need to remember generally that Kp is the partial pressures of the products multiplied together divided by the partial pressure of the reactants multiplied together. And so for us, Kp will be equal to the partial pressure of ethanol, that's the only product, divided by the partial pressure of ethene multiplied by the partial pressure of water. Now I'm using a lowercase p for my partial pressure, but you could use a double P for partial pressure if you preferred. I'm also putting my formulae in brackets because I think that looks neater, but you don't have to use the brackets. They're only really necessary when we have a coefficient in the equation. So in our Kp expression, we might be writing the partial pressure of something squared. But if you do decide to use brackets, they must be round brackets for Kp and not squared, because that's for Kc. And the next thing that we need to do is calculate the value of Kp using the expression that we've just written out. Now we need to note that the numbers that we substitute into the Kp expression have to be partial pressures, and right now we have mole fractions. So you calculate partial pressures by taking the mole fraction and multiplying it by the total pressure, which is 6,000 kilopascals. And so I would just extend this table here that they've left a bit of space for us to use and write partial pressure at the top and then multiply each of those mole fractions by 6,000. And so we get 3,870 for ethene, 1,938 for steam, and 192.6 for ethanol. And this will be the second marking point. And then we can substitute these values we've calculated into our Kp expression. And so we have 192.6 divided by 3,870 multiplied by 1938. And we get a value of 2.56798 times 10 to the minus 5. And so I would round this to 3 significant figures, 2.57 times 10 to the minus 5. And this will be our third marking point. To work out the units for Kp, my recommended strategy is to take your Kp expression and instead of putting numbers in, put units in. We had one partial pressure term on the top, the units will be kilopascals. We had two partial pressure terms on the bottom, so that will be kilopascals multiplied by kilopascals. And so because we have one term on the top and one on the bottom, those two can cancel out, and so we're left with the units of kp being 1 over kilopascals. And we can't have a two-line fraction for our units, so we have to bring that kilopascals up to the numerator. When we do that, the sign of its power will invert, and so that gives us kilopascals to the -1 as our units for kp. And this will be the fourth mark. State the effect, if any, of an increase in volume of the container on the value of kp for this reaction at constant temperature. Well, the quick answer to this question is at constant temperature, there will be no effect on the value of kp, because it's only a change in temperature that affects the value of any equilibrium constant. If you consider the expression for kp, you could be forgiven for thinking that this value should actually increase, because if we increase the volume of the container, this will have the effect of decreasing the total pressure, which will in turn decrease all of the partial pressure terms. And because there are two partial pressure terms on the denominator of our kp expression, the overall effect will be to increase the value of kp. However, because we are decreasing the pressure of the system at equilibrium, the equilibrium will shift to the left-hand side where there are more moles of gas, and that will have the effect of increasing the pressure again. And so these two effects will cancel each other out. One of them says that kp should increase, and the other says that kp should decrease, and they will cancel out precisely.